Hey everybody, welcome to Ben's Blades. I hope you're all doing really well. Today, as you can tell by all these bags of parts I have sitting on the table, I am going to completely transform this knife right here. This is a Benchmade mini Bugout. I got this for about $130 at an eBay auction. This is technically used. Whoever owned it before me and put it up for auction must have bought it and immediately decided they didn't like it, and so I was able to get it for quite a bit less than the $170 that it goes for normally. This is a 2.8-inch blade. It is S30V, and it's got kind of the Benchmade Bugout and mini Bugout crap that I don't like on these knives. It's got multicolored parts, it's got orange thumb studs, it's got orange backspacers, black parts, and this shitty orange grivery that I cannot stand. So we're going to take it and turn it into an all matte parts knife with carbon fiber. At least that's the intention, to get all this done without a lot of trouble. So let's talk about the behavior of the knife really quickly. We have a blade that does not fall shut. It's too tight. We have no blade play, and we have a blade that is dead center. So just the standard stuff I go over before we take this thing apart. To be honest with you, I'm not really looking forward to this. The last time I took apart a couple of crossbar lock knives, it was a real mess. So I want to get this done because I want to make something cool out of it, but on the other hand, I'm just like, do I have to? So let's do the Mac Tools mini ratchet with the T10 for the pivot. And hopefully I can take all the lessons I learned from the Kershaw Bel Air and the Hogue Deca and apply it to this so that there's not a lot of trouble. Okay. And we can switch to a less intense driver. Take this the rest of the way out. Put this spring over here. And I think we need T6 for most everything else. What about the thumb studs? Is that even T6? Yes, it is. So I'll get to those in a minute. Let's just take apart this stuff right here. Get all these little screws out of here. Put them aside because I will not need them ever again. Hopefully the more I take apart crossbar lock knives, the better I get at them. We'll see about that. Dropping screws all over the place. So most of the body screws and everything else are going to come from xxxadrenalinxxx out of Australia. In every box you get from him, he likes to put some swag in there, stickers and cards and things like that, which is nice of him. And then we have a Flytanium backspacer that is in carbon fiber. The actual scales themselves are from DeathGripScales. I have some hand-lapped and polished bronze washers, oversized washers from TRS Adventure Supply that I'm going to swap into this thing. And a Stubby pocket clip from Lynch Northwest, just because I don't like this black one that's on it. I think I mentioned the DeathGripScales, the carbon fiber scales. So this knife is going to look completely different, and it's going to have almost none of the same parts on it by the time we're done with it. I gotta be honest with you, the Bugout and the mini Bugout are some of the more recent knife acquisitions I've had. I went for a while where the only Benchmade knife I had was the 940. And so going from a 940, which is a thick little bitch, to this, it feels really weird. It feels way thinner than I think a knife should. That's going to take some getting used to for me. It really is. Let's try to use the pivot alignment tool and just push that pivot out. Just a little bit, enough that we can grab it and pull it the rest of the way, maybe. Take some tension off it. There we go. I've learned from the previous two crossbar lock builds that I did that you really need to have the blade partially closed to get everything to break loose. So there's the crossbar lock system right there. And here we have the Grivery handles. I'm going to murder this bitch. Ooh, come on. Come on. Ooh, a little bit more. Once again, I got to do it again. I got to do it again. Come on. Oh, these are tougher than I thought. They're a lot tougher than the polymer ones from the Hogue Deca. But I still hate them, so I got to break it. Ooh. Oh, that's going to hurt in a minute. I like that, though. That was satisfying. Okay. Whew, I feel good. I feel really good about that. Okay, we got to start putting stuff together. Putting stuff together. Here we go. Let's just take the crossbar lock out of here and get the Omega screws out. And we don't need the crossbar lock anymore because it's going to be replaced with a matte one. There we go. Actually, this is the discard pile, so I want these over here. And, ooh, those are some tiny washers. So we're going to ditch the washers too. And so basically, the only thing we're keeping is the Omega springs, the blade, and the partial liners. Everything else is getting ditched. Let's go ahead and use some Slip 2000 725 and just get everything to a baseline level of clean. Before we put everything back together. I need to maybe dry that off. It's a little too much 725 on these partial liners. All right. So now I need a blade stop pin. The cool thing about xxxadrenalinxxx is that every single part has its own baggie, so they're not like unnecessarily like scraping against each other. And then here are the scales from DeathGripScales. These are carbon fiber mini Bugout scales. And I am super excited about being able to carry this knife after I get it put together. This is a complete transformation. And we need a couple of the oversized washers. Bought a few of them because I'm going to do a few Benchmade builds. And those oversized hand-lapped and polished bronze washers look exactly like this. Let me take them out of the packaging real quick. And just look at that. Look how polished that is. Right. Good stuff. I'm thinking that's going to slide along very well in the knife action anyway. Let's go ahead and put the blade stop pin back in. Hopefully get it to stay put. I mean, it's not all going to stay put until I get the Omega spring and the crossbar lock back in. That's the next bag I'm going to open, because I want to get this crossbar lock system back together as quickly as possible so that I just don't have to screw with it. And here we have, these are all matte titanium. So put these on the knife. Wonderful Omega springs. Some people give them crap because they don't last as long as they maybe should. I've never had that kind of problem with a crossbar lock knife. I have yet to have a crossbar lock Omega spring go bad. But that's just me personally. What is that material that's on this knife? Is that corrosion? No, it just looks like some kind of surface buildup or something, because I'm able to, if you just scrub on it with the Slip 2725, it seems to come off without a lot of fuss. Interesting. All right. So now here comes the fun part of trying to get this thing back together and get it to stay. Oh my goodness. So before I keep fussing with this, let me make sure I got a good body screw. I think these are it. Scale screws, pocket clip screws, standoff screws. Okay. So these are for the blade stop pin specifically. I love that these are all just labeled, and so there's no guesswork involved. I mean, I could probably figure it out either way, but it's nice not to have to do that. Okay. Now let me put this in place. Oh, I got butterfingers. This is why I don't like doing this. I mean, it's not hard. It's just kind of tedious. And then put the crossbar lock back in through like this and hook in your Omega springs. And that alone should kind of hold it together as one piece, at least roughly, because it'll be under a little bit of spring tension. And so let's get that in there and get one side put on with a screw. I'm just going to set that down. I don't think it's going anywhere at this point. Hold your nose. Okay. Just get that in there, screw it down. And then I think the best thing to do at the moment is kind of stop right there so that I can get the blade in. Let's see. Yeah, I think getting the blade in is probably the smart thing to do. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of this ALG Go Juice into the phosphor bronze washer side of the liners. Get those properly lubricated. And then I need the pivot, which is, there's one side of it, there's the pivot screw. The pivot barrel is right here. This might be a longer video than some of the more recent ones, but practically everything on this knife is getting replaced, so there's really not much I can do about that. So let's go ahead and actually I'm going to take that all the way out. Let's lubricate that a little bit while it's there. Just get some Go Juice around it. And let's go ahead and lubricate the blade. Get these oversized washers put on. And then get it on the pivot alignment tool is probably the best way to do this. Well, actually, I'm just gonna... Oh, this is a mess. This is why I hate doing this. I'm gonna try to get everything in there so that I can use the pivot alignment tool to kind of get everything properly in place. This pivot alignment tool really honestly saves the day in a lot of ways. Because otherwise I think I would have a terrible time getting this to all fit into place properly. Okay, so the pivot alignment tool is all the way through. So I should be able to take the pivot barrel and push it through here, and it should just kind of, with enough pressure and at the right time in the right place and doing everything right, it should just come back through the other side. There. Oh, I'm losing it. Well, damn. Well, maybe not. Hang on. There we go. There. Whew, almost lost it. Okay, so the pivot barrel is back through. Now, I need the Flytanium carbon fiber backspacer. Put these little pieces in through there. And now I need the standoff screws. I keep this away from the blade stop pin screws. Okay. Snap that closed just so it's not free floating. Put this screw in here like this. Are those too big? That can't be. Let's try to do this one at a time. Now, it looks like I am going to need probably need some torque from the other side to keep it from free spinning, which maybe it would be better to just put the scale on and just kind of be done with that first. So, because otherwise I think I'm going to free spin that and it's just going to be annoying. Okay. So now I can take one of these and screw it in one side. And yeah, it's trying to free spin. So I need 2 of these. And another T6. Let's just use the Wera Stubby driver. I'm going to need to hold it on one side while I screw the other side in. There we go. Now it's wanting to cooperate a little bit more. Okay, so not super difficult, a little frustrating in some ways, but in other ways it's not so bad. And I think I'm gonna have to loosen one side up because it's under compression now and I can't get the other one in. So while this is tedious, I definitely know I'm gonna like the result. Okay, so that's a lot looser. Does that just not fit? I mean, I would think I wouldn't have fitment issues. These are all designed to kind of fit the same knife the same way. But if I have to take the scales back off this thing and take it apart again, that's going to be kind of annoying. Let me see if the pivot alignment tool will fix this. Let me try to get in there with the pivot alignment tool on one side and shove this through the other side. Yeah, it just doesn't fit. Okay, so let me take a minute to think about this. I might skip ahead once I figured it out. Oh no, that was quicker than I thought it would be. I just needed to loosen up these screws a little bit more and give it a little more slack. So let's take and put a screw in one side before it backs out the other way, and we have to start this process over again. Okay, so we're free spinning on that side. I need torque from the other screw. Excellent. Okay, so we are in a good position right now, knock on wood. So I need a bag of scale screws. Screw those in. We'll tighten everything down once we get all the screws in. It's probably going to need adjusting and aligning and blade centering and stuff like that. There we go. Now let's screw in the pivot screw. I'm going to end up with a few leftover parts just because, like, I don't need the standoffs because I have the Flytanium Backspacer that actually matches the DeathGripScales carbon fiber fairly well enough that it's not bothering me. You know, there's some, it's not perfectly the same. Like it's recessed slightly, the Flytanium Backspacer, but I'm not really worried about that. It's not that big of a deal to me. Okay, now we are too tight. Oh boy, is that smooth. Holy crap. Let's get the, now we need to do the thumb studs. Put these in. Hold this thing down. So I'm going to try to hand screw this in just to get it seated. And then I'll use this double T6 action going on right here. Just clamp it down nice and snug. And we still need a pocket clip. That's where Lynch Northwest comes in. Let me go ahead and get all this excess baggage out of here. Pocket clip screws. Yeah, protector screws. I don't know what I need protection from, but I looked inside and outside of the knife, and I don't appear to need any more screws for anything. Like, yeah, I don't know what I need more screws for. I'm going to just go ahead and tighten down all these screws that haven't been tightened down so far. This actually went a little bit easier than I thought it would. I figured this was going to take forever and was going to be another 45-minute video. I mean, it might end up being. Maybe I just lost track of time, but I feel like this went fairly well. DeathGripScales. I think these are made in Pennsylvania. So the scales are USA made. The Flytanium obviously is from China, but that's just kind of whatever. Sometimes you got to contend with that. Oh, but look at it. Ain't that nice? Monochromatic, carbon fiber. It's a much more substantial feeling knife. It feels better in the hand than that Grivery stuff. There's just something about it. Like, I can't stand it. Man, I just can't. Okay. Let's get that out of the way. Put that lid back on that. Get these clip screws out. And then we'll take one final look at it. Look at the blade centering. Look at the action. Just kind of look at it and admire it, I guess, you know. Lynch Northwest pocket clip. I love their pocket clips. I have them on so many of my knives. Next one. We'll get these snug once I get all of them on there. And boom. There you have it. Let's take a look at the action. It is, wow, drop shutty as hell, man. Those TRS Adventure Supply oversized washers, this thing is limp dicky. Oh my God. Just right away. That is awesome. So, what do we got for blade play? Oop, we have side-to-side blade play. Let me see if we can fix that. That might explain why we had a limp dicky knife that felt pretty good. Back that out just slightly. No blade play. It is almost fall shut. Let me see if I can crank it down just a hair and get it back to... Yeah, I might have to mess with it, just like work those washers in. But it's like teetering right on the edge of being fall shutty now. And, well, now we have a left side blade centering. Now it's too tight. Here comes the fun part, dialing this thing in. Drop shut. Tighten it down just a hair. Okay, well, I might have to mess with it. I mean, it's smooth. It's like smoother than a Chris Reeve at this point. And it is dead center on the blade, but we're not quite fall shutty. And so it might just be that these washers need to get broken in. Let me do something here. I'm going to use some Slip 2000 Extreme Weapons grease, and we're going to grease the contact points for like the stop pin and the lock bar and the lock face, just because xxxadrenalinxxx recommends you do it that way. So I think this knife might just need to be broken in a little in order to get it to where it's really fall shutty, but still tight enough to have perfectly centered blade with no blade play. But it's centered right now. We have no blade play, and it's not quite fall shutty, but it might just need to be broken in on those new washers. But check it out, man. Benchmade mini Bugout, carbon fiber, and a Lynch Northwest pocket clip. And we have all matching parts. I kind of wish they were stonewashed or polished or just a little more shiny than this, but I don't hate it. In fact, I kind of dig it. I can live with this. This is a massive improvement for this knife. I love this. Well, we did it. Actually, wait a minute. We're not done. We need, as always, the LPS2 for the blade. And this is going to just provide a little bit extra corrosion resistance and leave kind of a little bit of a temporary film on here that admittedly is going to come off after 3 or 4 times of using it. But for now, it's just nice to really get some lubricating slickness on the blade and just get it protected just a little bit. And there you have it, right there. Benchmade mini Bugout, now in carbon fiber. That's the video for today. Questions, comments, put them in the comment section of the video. Otherwise, until next time, carry a knife everywhere you can. I'll see you next time.